Okay, so hello everyone. For whatever reason, my permissions were wrong on Facebook and I was sitting there for 5 minutes trying to log in and do a live and it wouldn't let me. So I thought, let me do Zoom. I've sent the Zoom link on the Facebook group, so whoever sees it hopefully will join us live. But for now, I'm gonna just go ahead with it and I'll post it to the group very soon. So let me just share my screen. I've got used to like rolling with the punches, as they say. I used to like totally panic when I did lives. And now I'm like, it's okay. It's all right. We'll get there. We'll sort it out. Someone's asking to join. So I'm going to be doing lots of different things at the same time. Okay, so let me just double check that everybody knows in this group. These things happen, hey? So, all right. So for now, it's just me. Maybe somebody will see it on Zoom and join, but yeah, when this is posted, you'll all see it. Okay, so to start with, welcome. I'm so happy to be talking about this topic. It's a really, really big one for me because it's so much a part of my life. It's a part of every day of my life. And I wanted to share it a little bit with others who are interested in this path or interested in learning more, and those who maybe are fearful of it and just want to know more about it. The one thing I say, and I'll probably repeat it a few times, is that I'm not here to convince anyone or force anyone or make anyone feel like this is a path they have to choose or believe in. I'm here to share it, and you take what works for you and you leave what doesn't. That's how I always work. And the other thing is, obviously, when I do these talks, I go, whoa, I want to share everything I know about this topic in this 1 hour or 45 minutes or however long it takes us. And then I have to remind myself, that's not possible. And I have to take the pressure off a little bit and go, we share what we share, and whatever gets left unsaid is left unsaid. Like, you fill the gaps as you go. I'll share what I can and I'll remember what I can, but that's why I do my notes on the screen so that I can try and remember all the things I wanted to share. The reason I moved the talk today to a little bit earlier is that unfortunately we have realized we need to take our dog to the vet to be put down. So we need to give him the opportunity to leave peacefully as opposed to being in pain, because he's an old dog, he's 12 and his back legs are really sore, and we keep leaving it and thinking, I'm sure he'll be fine. And it's got to the point where he's not. So I thought it was quite relevant, since this is what we're talking about. And part of my own beliefs, which nobody else has to believe, is that our dogs have their own experiences, and I do believe there is a soul connection that we have with our pets. I don't know everything about it, but that's what I believe anyway. Okay, so that's why we're a little bit earlier. It was going to be 10. So, okay, so the next page is just about a little intro about me. I don't want to do too much because I want to use the time to talk about the topic. But for those who've never met me, my name is Claire. I live in South Africa, in Benoni, for those who are overseas. And I am many things. I don't like to call myself anything. Here I've put spiritual medium, intuitive coach, author. I just love doing lots of different things, but all of the things I do amount to sort of one sentence. I like breaking beliefs. So my book was about breaking beliefs. My coaching is about breaking beliefs. My spiritual work is about breaking beliefs. And I like using spiritual tools and spiritual connection to do my work. So that's in everything I do as well. My book talks about my spiritual connection. My coaching has a spiritual connecting element because I do intuitive coaching. So I trust that I'm being guided as I coach. And it reminded me of something I wanted to share today, is that you can take sort of anyone, like anyone that studies something or learns something or wants to do something, like let's just say a doctor, and that doctor can learn all the information that they need to know. But the important part is the practical application. And what I believe is that the practical application comes from intuition. What step am I going to take? What question am I going to ask? What's the next step I'm going to use, or whatever it is? How's it going to work? And I think that's, sorry, I just want to check out, letting somebody in. Hi, Gemma. And I just think it's the intuition of it that helps us on our journey in every area of our life. But that, again, is something that I believe. And then my intention today, and with this group that I've created on Facebook, is to create a little bit of a community of like-minded people, because I've found it is quite, I won't say difficult, let's say challenging, to share this work with people who maybe don't believe it or have other beliefs or want to fight it or get triggered by it. And as much as I think it's good to plant seeds with people that maybe aren't in that realm, maybe give them different perspectives, I like to also have a community where I feel totally comfortable sharing this stuff, because I know the people who have joined are interested in hearing it. So I hope that makes sense. And then the other one is to illustrate more clearly the work that I do. So like sometimes I struggle to fully, what's the word, like to fully explain the work that I do, because I myself am still on a journey. So it could take me 7 years to explain the work that I do. So I want to show you the work that I do, and then you know. So that's sort of one of the other intentions there. Okay. So let's jump into it. First, we're going to look at why connect with past loved ones at all? What's the point? And on my own journey, I didn't start off connecting with people. It wasn't like, if you watch Long Island Medium or John Edwards or any of those people, and now I'm not saying they're wrong, they're different. I love watching them and I love the stuff that they do, but they were sort of born with whatever gift it is, or an openness, or whatever it is, to know that connecting was already there, and they learned to embrace it and harness it and use it. I do believe, I think many of us have got gifts, and many of those gifts are shut down by parents or religious leaders or teachers or whoever we're around. There were many things that happened in my life as a child that actually scared me. I didn't feel comfortable. It didn't feel like, oh, this is something I want to happen. I remember seeing shadows a lot as a young kid in the house. I saw shadows at night, and I always chalked it up to like, maybe it's my imagination or whatever. And I just shut it off and I forgot about it. But there may have been an openness there. I know now that I'm very spiritually open and connected, so maybe. But the more I did this work and the more I watched other people do this work, I realized that there is a need for it. And this is what I believe the need is. I believe the need is for people to gain clarity about the person maybe that you loved, or the person that you were connected to, or a person that maybe you had a difficult relationship with when they were still here. And then I feel like it's also important for us to get support as a community, and to be able to talk about our loved ones once they've passed, and to acknowledge what I believe, that they are still very much with us. Now that's difficult for people. People are like, I don't want people to be watching me live. I don't want people watching me like when I'm intimate with my partner or whatever it is. And that was a fear, a very real fear that I had. And it's something I worked on, and I asked people about it, and I was on some support groups to ask. This was like in the beginning of my journey. And I realized that we have very little understanding as human beings of what a spiritual experience is, or a spiritual realm would be like. Because now I sort of believe, and this is me again, I'm just sharing me, I believe that when someone is in the spiritual realm, they are still energetically around, and their beliefs or their life or their way of looking at things has completely changed, because they are not human anymore. So for us, things like sex and intimacy and things like that are very much in our realm of understanding, like especially when it comes to like the limiting beliefs around it and the dirtiness behind it. That's something that we as human beings have conditioned ourselves to believe. But if you look into the pure meaning of like tantra, and you know, a lot of people say tantra is to have more you know, whatever, intimate moments that are pleasurable. I'm trying to say things in a very nice way, but from some of the research I've done now and people I've spoken to, tantra is actually creating a spiritual connection with a person while in a sexual relationship with a person. So it's not just the physical, it's the physical, the energetic, the spiritual. And I don't know a lot about it, but it's something I'm extremely interested in. And the more I look at that, the more I see that a spiritual being will not see it the same way that we see it. Well, I don't think that they will. So that's something I wanted to add. I also feel like in the readings I do, and if you watch like any of the mediums on TV, they will provide validation. So for me, validation is to show you that it's them. So you know this is actually them. It's not someone else, or it's not the person making things up. So I like to add validation to my readings. Like I will ask in my reading, is there anything you want to say to validate that it's you? And I don't always get messages back because spirit have their own agenda as well. But often it'll be things like a necklace, or and it'll be sometimes very vague and sometimes very exact, and that's not up to me, which is really hard because I want to sometimes prove to the person this is your loved one, but that's not for me to do. And I have to remind myself that that's not what I'm here for. I give the message and I leave it. It's not for me to control the way that that person interprets it. So validation provides that feeling. I know when I went to a medium, she told me, I have a tattoo on my ankle of a cross that I got in a particularly difficult time in my life where I felt like I had become very close to God, and I really wanted to, I wanted to somehow commemorate that. And she mentioned to me, oh, your loved ones are saying that you never thought you would get tattoos. It's not something that's you. Like, you're not somebody who wants tattoos, and I'm not, and I don't judge people who do. It's just never been something I wanted to do. But you've got one and it means a lot to you. It was from a difficult time in your life. And it was something I had never expected them to say or to share with her. And I was just like, that's them. Like, that's them. And lots of people will say how she got that information and why she got that information and how she guessed and all these other things. But as we go through today, you'll see that I don't always look at that, and I try and focus on, for me, what's real and what makes sense for me. And then I believe, for me, the biggest reason to connect with loved ones is to provide a sense of peace, to know that those loved ones are themselves at peace, that they're still around us. Often we are filled with fear. Some people maybe who grew up in religious backgrounds, I know like my mom's family, there was this thing of heaven and hell, which growing up, luckily I didn't have that. So I don't believe in heaven and hell. I don't even know what I really believe. But to give people that message of like, your loved one is still around. They're there. I have yet to not be able to connect with somebody. I believe everybody is where they are. I don't know where they go. I have my own theories, which I won't go into, but I don't believe that anybody is not at peace after they die. They may have their own stuff to still deal with, but it's a different way of looking at it now when they're in their spiritual realm. I don't know. Like, obviously I'm not telling you facts here because I don't know. Who knows? Do you know? I don't know. So there we go. Okay. And then to bring some growth, I know for me, it's brought tremendous growth to have guidance from loved ones who want to guide me. I believe my grandparents, specifically my grandmothers, I feel like they are always there guiding me, and they're guiding me again from a new place of knowing, not from Granny who was here when I was a kid, Granny who used to shout at me, Granny who didn't understand me or whatever it was. It's now Granny who's risen above that. She's learned lessons in her life. Her human person is no longer completely her. There's a part of her, obviously, because it was her, but her soul is guiding and sharing important information that can help me move forward, which I have found extremely, extremely valuable. I know my first reading I went to, the lady said, you're going to go into something like life coaching. I don't know what it is. It's almost like it doesn't really exist yet, but it's like life coaching and you're going to work with lots of different people. And I was like, that sounds pretty cool. And I'd never coached anyone before. And I can tell you, even that didn't make me go, oh, I need to go do life coaching. I just went, that's an interesting thing. And then one day when I was coaching, and she even said like different kind of coaching, which is intuitive coaching. What is that? Like, that's not even a thing. I look back and I'm like, oh, that's what they meant. So as much as it guided me, it also reassured me. Like, it was very interesting. And then the last one, well, not the last one of probably many reasons, but the last one for me today is to bring a sense of healing, especially for people who feel like there were things left unsaid, or pain was caused from either side, where you feel like you have that opportunity to apologize or to thank them or whatever it is. And I have had some situations where I had to do a reading for someone. I don't even know the context, but the message was, I'm sorry for not listening. I'm sorry for not understanding. I understand now. And I want you to know that you don't have to carry this for the rest of your life. I want you to be at peace so you can move forward without sitting with this burden of, did they know, or could I have done something different? So I feel that that brings a lot of peace. And to me, how can that be a bad thing? So that's what we'll get to next. What stops us from connecting? I believe, again, you don't have to believe it, that all of us can connect should we choose to. It's our choice. You don't have to, but we all can should we choose to. And what stops us, and what stopped me for very long, was fear. And the fear that came up was from misinformation. The misinformation that I believe is misinformation, but that people gave me. You can't connect with spirits. It says this in the Bible. It's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. And while there are things in the Bible that are very true, maybe, we don't know. Actually, I wanted to also share, before I forget to share it, yesterday, Esther, who's in this group, who might watch this later, hello Esther, sent me a little video about, paraphrasing, because I can't remember the exact words, but like, true wisdom is in the not knowing. And I always find there's a danger in exacts and facts and knowing, when people are like, this is exactly it, and this is why you must or mustn't do it. To me, there is a danger in that, because sometimes it lacks understanding. Sometimes it lacks opening your mind a little bit to something else. And I believe that that can be really powerful if you do it in a way that's with good intention and seeking something good in your life. I don't see why that should be a bad thing. So the not knowing often opens our mind to the knowing, because then we are able to learn more. I'll actually share it to my Instagram as well, so you can see it. Okay, so now I have looked through some articles, because I wasn't going to remember this, of things where, so yes, in the Bible it says you mustn't connect with spirits, you mustn't connect with the dead. I actually did a reading a few years ago. I won't say who it is, but well, you know who you are because you're watching. Somebody asked me to do a reading for their husband, and his father had passed away. And I did the reading, and I can tell you this with absolute certainty, it was the best reading I have, not best, sorry, that's not a nice way to say it. All my readings are beautiful. It was the most powerful reading for me, because in life, I was scared of this person. So I kept saying to my husband, I don't want to do this reading. I was really scared of him. Like, he was quite a scary person for me. I didn't know him very well. What if it's still scary? What if it's not a good reading? And it was completely the opposite. I felt an amazing amount of love. It sort of filled my whole body. And his message was like, I love my son more than I could even explain, and my grandchildren that I've never met, and I'm with them. And it was just, I don't know, it was a really beautiful, beautiful reading. And unfortunately, I don't know now, maybe he's shifted, but I don't think so. His dad told him, like when he was living, that you don't connect with the dead. And it was from the Bible. And I can totally understand that, because it's in the Bible. Like, yeah, we don't want to like go against that. But it stopped him then from maybe becoming open to the messages that were coming through that were only pure love. Where can that be wrong? Don't accept love from your past loved ones. Don't feel love come into your body. Like why would God not want us to feel love? Like, God is love. You know what I'm saying? So I thought, let me look up some things in the Bible that we sometimes, for those of you who know the Bible, and it's it's not intended to shame people who use the Bible, because I use the Bible. It's just for us to do that not knowing. Like, we don't truly know. There's so much more context behind who wrote the Bible, why they wrote the Bible. My view is a lot of it is a sign of the times. During those times, this is what was allowed. We need to keep people safe. We need to give them rules because of XYZ. And now, 2,000 years later, a lot of these things are not, I believe, are not relevant. and we are still perpetuating this pain. If you speak to somebody who for themselves is transgender, is gay, is non-binary, lots of people say they chose that path. That's for them to have their opinion. I have spoken to many people who say, all I want is for somebody to take this away from me. I don't want this to be a part of me. I just want to be normal like everybody else. And then we look at the Bible and we go, oh, oops, sorry, we can't accept you because the Bible says we can't. It's like, oh, wow, that is such a loving and wonderful way to deal with people. Sorry, I'm sounding cynical now because it does make me feel angry, but at the same time, I know we're all on our learning journey, and I can't say people are wrong when they're not. So I found a few things that are, I don't know which ones to even read. Okay, so Leviticus 19:19 says, do not wear clothing woven of two kinds of material. Oops, you know what I mean? Ye shall not round the corners of your heads. I don't know what that even is, but don't do it. Sorry, I also forget that my sense of humor comes out, and please know that it's not to be disrespectful. It's just because I am someone who likes to be silly. So please forgive me. Thou shalt not boil a kid in its mother's milk. Like we've got to tell people this because, you know. Now, listen here, all that have not fins and scales in the sea. So all that have not fins and scales in the sea and in rivers, of all that move in waters and any living, living thing that's in the waters, they shall be an abomination to you. So I'm guessing like calamari, and people will say, don't eat it maybe, which is fine, like go for it. But there was probably a reason then that does not exist now. I have to keep an eye on the time because when I start talking, I can keep going. Let me just do one more. Oh gosh, okay, I'm going to read it. This may be a little bit graphic. It's from the Bible. You know what I'm saying? When men fight with one another, and the wife of one draws near to rescue her husband from the hand of him who is beating him, and puts out her hand and seizes him by the private parts. It says private parts. I don't know which what's the word? Which Bible this is, which version. Then you shall cut off her hand. Like, I mean, all I'm saying, the point I'm trying to make, and it's not one to convince, is that there is a lot of stuff in the Bible that we just ignore now. But then we look at this one thing and we go, you mustn't connect with the dead. We're going to keep that one. And from my life, that took me a very long time to go, I should do it. I shouldn't do it. I should do it. I shouldn't do it. I should. And when I embraced it, wow, my life changed. Because, and it wasn't like, everybody come do it with me. We're going to do seances and bring up the dead and experiment. I don't experiment in my work, but I explore. And I explore within my safe boundaries. And I use prayer and I use guidance and protection. And everything I do comes with intention. And everything I do comes with, did I just say intention? There was another word I wanted to use and I thought I said it already. Because I'm thinking 2 steps ahead. Everything comes with intention. Everything comes with thought. That's the same as intention, but there was something else. Anyway, I think you get the idea. So then I ask you, can we shift our beliefs? 100%, I believe we can, but it takes work from our part. How do we know if we have limiting beliefs? Well, let me give you a tip that works for me. For me, a limiting belief is telling me you can't, you shouldn't, you mustn't, you shouldn't, you everything. Sitting with it and going, is there a valid reason? Does this feel right within me? Are there other options? Is there a reason that maybe I feel this way? But if I looked at it from a different perspective, it might be different. Often shifting our beliefs also comes with seeing other perspectives. So opening our minds to ask other people what they believe, to see what's out there. And sometimes it will trigger us, okay? And I'm not going to go too much into triggers. I'm sure lots of you know about trigger work, but triggers point us to unhealed parts of ourselves. So sometimes we don't have to even look at it as a belief. We're like, what is unhealed in me? Where is there trauma that I went, hey, mom, I want to talk to grandpa, whatever. I'm making this up. This didn't happen to me. Mom, I want to talk to grandpa. And mom went, we don't connect with the dead. And that fear of, oh, I did something wrong, then sits with us and we go, that's a belief now. We don't connect with the dead and we move on with our life. And when somebody around us goes, hey, have you heard you can go to a medium? And there's that trauma, and, or we can call it trauma, that pain, and we go, oh, no, we mustn't do that. That's wrong. So it's becoming aware of those those triggers and those things around us that make us feel uncomfortable, sitting with the discomfort. We don't have to make decisions or actions that we're not comfortable with, and figuring out, why do I feel this way? Why do I believe this? Who told me to believe this? Do I think it's still true? And it's hard work. It is hard work. And sometimes we need a break from it. We can't sit in it for too long. I do that sometimes too. But yeah, so that's something I wanted to share. How do we know if the person is right that's told us these things? Or how do we know if our belief is right? And that's something I can't tell you. But the one thing I can say for sure for me is that when I sit with it and it feels good, it feels happy, it lacks fear. There's no fear, there's no reservation. It's just, I can sit with it. I hope that makes sense. I know it's very like abstract. It's not like telling you exactly how to do it, because everybody's going to do it differently. Okay, then we get to how can we connect? Okay. Everybody connects differently, and that's not a good or a bad thing. It just is. It's just the way that we're made, I believe. So somebody like Teresa Caputo, if you've seen her, Caputo, she will connect easily, because I think she hears and she feels, I think, and she writes down and she gets the messages like that. Apparently John Edwards is clairaudient, and he hears the messages and then he gives them. So I'll tell you, for me, it's very much been signs and symbols, feathers, butterflies. Now, nobody in my life told me to connect with my loved ones that had passed, ever. We spoke about them lovingly. We looked at photos of them. As a very small child, my grandpa passed away when I was 5. I heard a cooing dove. I was like, Grandpa. And still today, let's see if it happens now. How freaky would that be? No, sorry. I hear a dove and I go, oh, that's Grandpa. And whether it is or isn't doesn't really matter. It brings me peace, but I believe that it's somehow connected to the spiritual world. When I see butterflies, it used to be my gran. It's sort of changed over time, because I feel closer to my gran now without the butterflies. But I used to see a butterfly and it was at it. Oh, let me tell a story about it quick. I didn't add it to my notes. The day before I got married to my husband, you know, those of you in South Africa will know the white butterflies that go from somewhere to Mozambique, or Mozambique to somewhere, I can't remember. But those white butterflies that migrate over like November, December, sometimes January. My mom, my dad and I were walking. We did like a bit of exercise, and I was all like, oh, marriage, big deal. Oh. I still lived at home with my parents, and I'm like walking, and something's like, look up. And I looked up. Gosh, it gives me goosebumps to this day. This big whatever of butterflies, swarm, whatever you want to call it, wing of butterflies above me. And I was just like, whoa, that's amazing. I just thought that's wow. And my butterfly symbol was Granny. When I got married, my aunt gave me this. I didn't even think of sharing this, but I'm sharing it now. And it was lovely. And she says, I've got this beautiful gift for you. And I read the note, and the note was, when I got married, my mom, so my granny, said that it's lovely to have perfume for special occasions with your husband. And she gave me a perfume bottle, and now I'm giving you a perfume bottle. And it had a butterfly on it. And I was like, whoa, coincidence? Maybe. Sign? Maybe. I chose to take it as a sign that she was there. I saw the butterflies. I got the butterfly gift. It was like she's with me on the day, because she was special to me, and I would have obviously wanted her to be there. It goes further. Then a few days after, I was telling my husband we'd got married now. We were probably on honeymoon, or we'd even come back. I don't know. We were chatting, and he says, you know what happened to me the day before our wedding? I looked up and there was a massive thing of butterflies above me. I was like, no way. Because he lives, not that it matters, but like at the time he was living in Joburg South, which those of you who know our area, I'm Benoni, he's Joburg South, which is like 40 minutes away. And I was like, wow, what are the odds? Coincidence? Maybe. Sign? I think so. Okay, so signs and symbols. And then everyday communication. So if it's something you're fearful of, if it's something you're not sure about, this is a suggestion, not a, you feel into it, see how it feels. Just talking to them out loud in your mind. It doesn't have to be prayer, because people then go, we can't pray to the dead, we only pray to God. Sorry to say it like that, because I do get triggered, and that's my own stuff coming through. But I don't see it as prayer, but I do see it as prayer, because to me, it doesn't matter, because I don't think God is this patriarchal figure that is like trying to control us. And I think that is a sign of what the past was. So I think God would say lovingly, wow, you've got such a great connection to your mom. You loved her so much when she was here. You've got such a great connection to your gran. You loved her so much when she was here. Whoever it is, you're welcome to chat to her. Wow, how difficult it must be for you to be without that person now that you loved so much. So everyday communication. Mom, guess what happened today? Dad, look what I'm doing. Look at the kids. Even just the thought. From a lot of the stuff, oh, I got goosebumps, sorry. From a lot of the stuff that I've watched and things that I do, when you think of a loved one, they're there, they're around, they're with you. When you see a sign, they're with you. When you see someone that looks like a loved one that's passed away, John Edwards always used to say this, and I truly believe it. When you walk in and you go, oh, I thought that was my gran. It's a way of them showing you, I'm always here, I'm always with you. Yes, sure, there are neurological reasons, and we can go into those, that's fine. But how much more beautiful is it to just take it for what it is? Wow, I thought that was my gran. I got to think about her and connect with her a little bit today. That's me anyway. Rituals and practices. So you can light candles for them, which we do in church. You know, we're allowed to light candles, but we're not allowed to talk to them. I've never been told not to talk to them, but I know lots of people who have. And then the sitting and feeling was one I wanted to share with you that was quite a cool aha moment for me. And it's going to sound super simple. I feel like I'm talking really long. It's almost at the end. It's 9:10. Take a breath. Okay, so what was really cool for me was sitting and feeling, and I'm going to say the essence of a person. So those of you watching now, I'll invite you. If you're comfortable, you can just observe. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but if you would like to, close your eyes. Take a nice, beautiful breath. And in this moment, I invite you to become aware of the essence of a person that's passed that you love. You can even do this with somebody who has not passed. What is that person's essence? What do you feel when you're with that person? What is their energy that they give? Sometimes it helps to visualize what they look like, of course, because we are visual beings. And then once we know what they look like, what does it feel like? What does it feel like to be around them? What is that essence, that presence, that energy that they have? Take a nice deep breath. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. I know that was really short, but you can sit in that for as long as you like, and you can explore. Feel the essence of a pet, feel the essence of a partner, feel the essence of your children. If you have children, feel the essence of a family member that's still alive. You can do that. Just what do they feel like? What is that essence that you feel? And how can you, if you wish to, translate that into connecting with a loved one who's passed? Okay. Just want to make sure I've covered. I have. It all ended up like being covered. Okay, let me see what else I was going to share. Service draft. I'll get to that at the end. So there was something else before I jump to this. You know what? I don't even know if I'm going to share it. It was sort of like how we look at. I'll quickly share it. How we look at something, let's say, like COVID. It's a very controversial topic, just like religion, just like connecting with the dead. COVID. People have millions of different opinions. How many millions? Maybe two. Yes or a no. I myself looked at the fact that it doesn't matter what I believe. It doesn't matter what I believe. But for me, COVID was a real thing. But I also acknowledge that everybody's going to feel differently about it. Some people will value their social life, and that's okay. I valued my health because I have health issues, so I stayed at home. But I tried to take a step back and go, I can't control other people as much as I would love to, because it would make my life easier. it's my thing that creates my feeling, and it's somebody else's thing that creates their feeling, and that's not wrong. And for me, that's the same with this situation. It's like everybody's going to believe something different. It's about finding what's right for you. It's about finding what sits well with you. And it might change over time. It might change multiple times. That's just one of those things that could happen. So yeah, there was a little bit more that I was going to share. Now I can't remember what it was, but I think that was the gist of it. Okay, yeah, so I think that was everything. Okay, and as I said, doing these talks is also to talk a little bit about what I do so that people know that are interested. I do the intuitive readings. I use my cards. I do intuitive writing, which is where it's not even as interesting as it's not even as interesting as it sounds, but it's not, like, I don't know, like some people may go into like a trance, or like, it's just me writing, and like the messages I give people, they're like, wow, that's spot on. And it's, I don't even believe that it's like a super specific gift. I think many of us, almost all of us, can do it if we want to. Sorry. I say almost all because, again, it's the not knowing. I don't know who can do it and who can't, but I say give it a go, see what comes up. And somebody who talks about intuitive writing is Gabby Bernstein, if you're keen to follow her. Then I do intuitive coaching, and my coaching is less about the intuitive part, because that's my process, but the actual part that benefits the person is reparenting. So looking at, sorry for the barking dogs, looking at the way I was parented, how is it causing me pain? How is it building beliefs that are not serving me? And that's where it comes with inner child work. So connecting to the child within, finding healing, breaking beliefs that are holding us back, which there can be tons. Beliefs around feminism, beliefs around patriarchy, moving into like feminism, moving into like a space for all. There are systemic beliefs that are being broken all the time in terms of religion, education, parenting. And then there are those beliefs within us that often obviously link to those systemic beliefs, but sometimes we need to sit with them. Like, oh, why do I still feel this? Even though the world is starting to shift, I'm struggling to shift with it, or the world's not shifting, but I am, or whatever it is. Then I wrote a book, and this is all about beliefs. It's another way that I felt was a way to show my journey. This is how I changed my beliefs, and if you wish to do that, you can too. But obviously you won't do it the way I did, you'll do it your own way. And then I'm running a special. It's going to be a 30-minute intuitive reading with one-on-one intuitive coaching session with all built in for only 777 Rand, a nice angel number there. So anyone who's interested, you can just contact me and let me know. The reason I'm doing it is because a lot of people book the intuitive readings, but I really do value coaching with reading if it's something somebody needs. So having that opportunity to get guidance, but then having the opportunity to figure out how that integrates into your life and where it fits and where you can take it. Okay, and then I'm going to be running a group coaching session, which is in the Spiritually Empowered program. You can check it out on my website. The group coaching session is all about money mindset. So it's uncovering those limiting beliefs around money, why we struggle with making money, or why we feel uncomfortable spending money or taking money, or whatever it is, looking at our common money blocks, exploring ways to trust the universe on our financial journey, discovering tools to help us when we feel big feelings around the topic of money. So when we see somebody that has a lot of money and we feel triggered, and why do I feel triggered? Let's look into it, let's explore. And then exploring the concept of financial freedom. What does that mean? So this is what I'm really excited about. It's part, like I said, it's part of the Spiritually Empowered program. So it's the people that are on that program will be attending, but obviously for free because it's part of their program. Well, not free, they've paid for the program. And then those who attend as guests will pay $450. So you can contact me if you're interested in that, and it will be going up probably on next week to advertise it. And to add to that as well, part of my beliefs are struggling to sell. Like I struggle to sell because I'm not a salesman, but I also believe in this work so much. So I don't do this work to become a million trillionaire. I do this work to spread the message of what I do. I do this work to, to yeah, to help others and guide others into their own journey and into their own greatness. And yeah, and I guess sometimes it's difficult for me to share what I do because I feel uncomfortable, but I'm learning to sit with it and say, it's less about selling and more about just being there for those who would like the services. But it's a journey. That one is definitely a journey. And then the last thing to say is just thank you so much for joining. And I will hopefully do more talks in this group when it starts to arise. I'll just feel into it and feel when I'm ready. So thank you, those of you who did join. I really enjoyed it. Sorry for the up and down and the lack of what's it called? The lack of interaction. I don't know how to see myself. I hope that it's still, I don't know where it is. Oh, it's here. I'm going to just stop sharing. That's what I have to do. And yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend and I'll chat to you soon. Bye, everyone.